We've just returned from a quick trip to the Okanagan, pick up a little bit of specialty supplies for our next big build project at the lot. But before we get rolling on that, we're gonna do one more dive into some local history. Heading out for a bit of a hike today. I'm gonna be doing a video on all the history of the old ghost town here as soon as possible, and it's probably the video that I'm most excited about. Look at that view. That's exceptional. But this is an area of the old town I haven't been yet. I'm not sure if there was actual city and houses and stores and stuff over here, but this is one of the old roads, and this used to connect all the way through. Unfortunately, it's washed out now. Here's a pretty good view of the island. And it's an interesting view because it's not an island for most of the year. In fact, I think by this time of year, it shouldn't have water flowing on the back side of it, but this river is staying so high that water's flowing around the back side of the island. I came off the road to pick Saskatoons here, and look at this. I believe this is an old chimney. Definitely an old build site of some kind over here. The road continues up there, and it looks like we have something else down here. Just stepped on some tin I could hear. Oh wow, look at how nice it is here. What a beautiful spot. Not sure if this was placed here or if it's just fallen there, but down here really looks like it was carved out. Kind of figured I might find an old stove or something down in here, but I don't see anything, and with the amount of big rocks down in here, I kind of don't think this was a building location. Finding anything out here today would really just be a bonus, because what an absolutely beautiful place just to go for a walk. Gonna have to do a little bit of off-roading here because I've spied at least one thing I was not expecting to see, possibly two. This looks like it might be an old root cellar here. Definitely. It's all caved in now. Doesn't look like much of a flat spot for building or anything, just the old road going through. But this was actually the maybe. I thought it might have been just a pile of old trees, but I see up here a telephone pole, or more likely a power pole. Would have assumed that this would be more recent than the gold rush and the ghost town, just because of this plate on it. But the wood itself looks like it's been sitting out here for 100 years. Pretty cool seeing all the old knots in it. Not sure if any of those reflect a year. And I can see another one. Interesting. And then this road does continue up. Matter of fact, I can see a third right there. Found a nice ripe choke cherry bush here. The choke cherries back at the lot are just starting to turn red. These ones are pretty much fully ripe over here. Fairly odd. Here's this other power pole. That's a green treated pole, exactly the same as you'd see on the side of the highway today. It's in line with that old one. This one appears to be far newer. Don't know if it's just been replaced over the years or if it's completely unrelated. I'm not sure. Here's a perfect look at that old road we walked down on the other side. And I'm starting to believe maybe it's related to today's adventure destination, which I think we're arriving at now, and that's the location of the old flour mill. Somewhere just over here, very possibly right on this flat spot, was a flour mill back in the day. But we'll go take a look at the old bridge site. Here's the old road coming in. And right here you can see the foundation for the bridge, and obviously it's been washed out. I can't quite figure out where it went to. You can see a pole over there that was obviously placed by humans. Looks like the bridge may have gone over here, but I'm not sure why they would have had it on such an angle. I can see two cables running down, so I'm guessing that's the old bridge site. Just not sure. You would have thought it would go straight across, but there's no way they would have put a bridge on such an angle like that. So overgrown over here you can't even see where it went after it reached the other side. What a beautiful little creek over here. I have a hard time understanding how there was enough water coming down this canyon to wash this bridge out. I guess it could have over time just eroded underneath the foundation and then it basically just collapsed maybe. But it definitely went over there. We do have some concrete here, and you can see a big pile of rubble down there. So I'm not sure if this thing has burnt over the years or if it's just crumbled down, but we'll take a hike down there for a closer look. I guess we should first take a closer look up here, see if we can find any clues. Walked all over this flat spot here and I didn't find a thing. I'm sure if you came here with a metal detector there'd be all kinds of iron in the ground, but they've done a heck of a good job cleaning up. Let's make the trek down this hill. See about that big pile of rubble down there. Look at that. You can see a chunk of what I'm guessing is the old bridge down there. But I'm fairly certain that this is exactly where the lower building was, and the photo was taken from over there. You can see a bit of a foundation left here. Pretty cool. They mixed it with just local rock and gravel. And then I'm guessing it has burnt because there's all this burnt wood over here. Pretty unfortunate. It's a neat bit of local history that's been basically forgotten out here. Good thing Saskatoon season's almost over. Folks are gonna get sick of watching me eat Saskatoons every Saturday, but I'll tell you, the berries around here are just crazy. Pretty excited for a closer look at this stave pipe. Usually when I find this stuff, all you can see is a coil of metal and then a couple boards in the center of it. This is actually completely intact still, which is pretty surprising. I mean, this is basically all that's left of the mill that was here. Unfortunately, I couldn't find much on the history of this here, but we have a couple of clues. If we take a look at the notching here at the end and this dowel sticking out of there as well, you can see axe marks coming up here, and believe it or not, these are all square nails. there is some round nails as well. My sincerest apologies for all the attention on the berries around here, but look at these freaking Saskatoons. I've never seen them so big. You can see these are all round nails down here. Very curious why we're seeing so many square nails as well. And I've seen this once before on an old ship, riverboat paddle wheeler, where portions of the ship had square nails, especially in the deck, and then other portions had round nails. I wonder if it's a cost thing. If they could source the square nails cheaper. I'm just not sure, but this whole structure here is round nails. Then we get up there and it turns into square nails. Look at this, the way it's carved down. Chamfered. I'm guessing that's so that it would slide into the next piece. Anyways, let's see if we can make our way down to the river. In all this rubble, I found no bricks, with the exception of just this one red clay brick. But even more fascinating, hidden under here, a little bit of tongue and groove. And another chunk of brick with an E on it. Love to know what the rest of that said. What an absolute score. First raspberry of the season. These right here are either underripe choke cherries or fire cherries. Since they're all the identical red, I'm guessing they're fire cherries. Also edible. Oh, wow. Those are good. Holy smokes. Nice and sour. Definitely a fire cherry. Don't think I'm gonna be getting down this hill without at least a little bit of sliding. Not a big deal, but I have the good camera and the drone, so I think we're just gonna shoot for more of a controlled fall kind of scenario. I'm hoping I can kind of just do a bit of a quick run along here, and if I'm lucky, it'll be soft enough over there to stop myself. Oh yeah. And at this point, I think we'll be finding a different way back up. But that's okay. Whew, made it. Can see a little lot 32 off in the distance. And what a beautiful little spot down here. I had no idea there was so much water coming down this creek. I was under the impression this thing was basically dry. On first impression, this really looks like a chunk of coal on top. Don't think there's coal around here or a coal mine. And I don't know what they do for the process of making flour, but this is an odd outcropping of rocks here. It almost looks like a big tailings pile, but I don't think that's the case. Just not sure how it ended up here like this. The river is not at its absolute highest, but it's quite close, so I don't think it would have come up this far. This really looks like coal. I really just don't believe that this is all natural here. I have a theory. I've been told that there was a reaction ferry, one of them downriver from my build location. And when we were walking down the old road, I remember there was 2 pieces of wood and a flat spot sticking out of the bank there. I'm guessing maybe this was the landing for the old reaction ferry. They could load up flour or whatever it was they were needing to transport and easily get it to the other side of the river. Don't know for sure, but that's my theory. But while we're here, let's take a little closer look with the drone. One thing I'm seeing that really sticks out to me, just below the old cement bridge foundation, there's a pile of rocks. Certainly on their own would not be strong enough to be any type of foundation or support, but they have been placed there for sure. There's definitely more cement foundation around on that hilltop that I didn't see when I was walking. Not sure if that's related to the mill or the bridge. I'm directly above looking straight down, and I'm surprised with the lack of any indication of anything being there. There is the cement foundations that we found already, and that looks to be about it. Here's a really good look at that washed out bridge, and again, I'm super surprised by the angle of the foundation on this side of it. It's pointing directly across. Off to the right is where it looks like the bridge connected. Why the foundation isn't pointing that direction, I just don't know. Unfortunately, there's not much left to see of the old mill, but what we did find is just a beautiful place to come and enjoy. Definitely be making some more trips over here. Before we head back, somebody smarter than me, please tell me, what the heck is this if it's not coal? This one has a bunch of pyrite in it. There's a perfect specimen to inspect. This one also has some bands of pyrite, and it's quite soft actually. Yeah, weird stuff. Anyways, in the spirit of not injuring myself trying to get back up that hill, we're gonna take the riverbank back. Pretty excited about it actually. One volcanic rock. What the heck's going on here on this shelf? Walking along the riverbank here, and I see, I'm guessing this is the cross member for a power pole, and these holes that you can see had dowels coming out that were threaded and had insulators on top. That's my guess. How the heck it got all the way down here, I'm not sure. Looks like I might be onto something here. Just following this trail, which I assumed was just a game trail, hoping it would lead back up to the road. Seems to be some relics along the way. I can see a couple power poles here. You can see the threads up there. That would have had a glass or porcelain insulator. I can see one more laid over against the hillside there. Coming up the hill on this random trail, I certainly didn't expect to find anything. Check this out. I would have to say this is a cable from an old reaction ferry. Not sure what else would have needed such a heavy duty cable. Look at the size of that thing. Anchored off on those two trees. Holy smokes. Can almost not believe it. I have made like a legitimate discovery here, which is pretty exciting. Check this out. Wow. I have yet to hear any of the neighbors or anyone talk about a building left here from the gold rush. The size of these logs for just a tiny little building. Maybe it was the operator room or shack for the reaction ferry. Not entirely sure. I can see it used to have a wood stove in it. Chimney sitting over there. And we have some hinges here. Wow, beautiful old hinge. That's pretty cool. And round nails on the outside and a square nail here at the end. Just incredible. There's the old door, and I can see the other half of a hinge up there. It's the other half of this hinge, I'm almost certain. And I suppose we're gonna get really lucky here and we can take this road hopefully all the way back to the lot. Look at that thing, just hidden in there in the trees. Walking up above, you'd never even see that there. Here is a perfect example of either a telegraph line or a power line. Here's all the dowels threaded for insulators. The road's running along here, totally overgrown now with trees. You can see this natural erosion. Bedrock there and nothing here. And they actually built kind of a half bridge spanning over this. There's some of the structure of it now tumbling down the bank. Rotella Tea Oil by Huel. Multi-grade. That's a Shell product. I can still see the shell on the front of it. Crazy to think just how long it's been since someone's actually been on this road. And at this point in time, I'm still not sure where the original road is between town and here. This could actually be it. Wouldn't that be cool? There's a bunch of stuff down here that I just have to go see. Matter of fact, there might be an entire vehicle. Well, it's the cab of a vehicle. An old truck of some kind. How the heck and why the heck it ended up down here, I'm just not sure. Looks like maybe from the 40s. And doesn't look like there's much else. Anyways, let's finish our hike back out of here.
Holy smokes, does it ever feel good to be finally exploring my very own backyard. And I'm starting to realize there's a heck of a lot more exploring to be had out there. But before we conclude this week's episode, I've got to let you in on something pretty cool. My mom recently has been flexing her creative muscles and she's put out a whole line of kid-oriented books. Not a sponsor, just helping out the mom, you know? So if you have a kid or a grandkid or you're a kid or you even know a kid, well, pick up a kid's book. We'll have all of that information linked down in the description below. As always, take nothing but pictures, leave nothing but footprints, and I'll catch you on the next one.
Living on a prayer can be stressful someday.